Elementary Chinese Reader 3. Let us read Lesson 46. Exercise. Yang xia lie se zu zao dong zuo ke neng bu yu de zhu zi. So we have to use tong as a potential complement, as we have seen in this text and grammar. Tong as potential complement indicate a subject or person has strength to carry out an action. Let us see the first example, how we have to use tong as a potential complement. 这箱子太重，我一个人提不动。So this suitcase is very heavy. I alone 提不动 cannot move it. Okay, thi is to carry. So here this means I alone cannot carry this heavy suitcase. Let us read the first exercise, part 1. This is pan shi tou. Pan is to move and shi tou is a stone. So we can make a sentence which is similar to the example. This stone is very heavy. I alone cannot move it. Pan is to move. So this would become pan putong, cannot move it because this stone is very heavy. Let us read the second exercise. Qi zi xing che. Qi is to ride. Zi xing che is a cycle. Cannot ride a cycle. So we can say something like this cycle is very tall, is very cow, and I cannot ride it. Qi pu tong. So tong means a movement, but when we say qi pu tong, this means it is a potential complement. I don't have the capacity to ride this cycle because this is very high. Pa sao. Pa is to pluck. Sao is grass. So we can say this grass is too many. Han tuo, I cannot pluck it. This would become pa putong. Moving on to the fourth exercise. Pao and thui. Pao is to run and thui is leg. So we have to make a sentence something like I cannot run. Pao putong. So we can say something like my leg is hurting and I cannot run, or my leg has injury, or my leg is not well, I cannot run. Pao putong. Moving on to the fifth part. Zhou to walk, Lu is road. So we have to make a sentence with Zhou putong, cannot walk, and we have to use Lu or road in the first part. So we can say this road is very long, I cannot walk or cover it by walking. Moving on to the sixth part. Pa shan. Pa is to climb, shan is mountain. So we have to make a sentence like Pa putong, I cannot climb, or I don't have the capacity or ability to climb, and we have to use mountain in the first part. So we can say this mountain is very tall, I cannot climb this mountain. This mountain is tall, wa pa putong, I cannot climb. Moving on to the last part. Pei liang shi. Pei is bag and liang shi is grains. So we can say this bag of grains is very heavy, I cannot carry it on my back. Pei putong, cannot carry it on my back. Moving on to the second exercise. Let us read this question. Yong fan wan chu kai xie xia lie chu zi. So fan wan chu is a rhetoric sentence. Using rhetoric sentence, we have to rewrite the following sentences. Let us read the example. 大家的显现这么大，一定能办好这件事。大家 everybody, 显现 confidence, 这么大 so much or so big. So everybody's confidence is so big or so high. 一定 certainly, 能 can, 办好 do well, 这件事 this matter or this work. So everybody's confidence is so high. Certainly they will be able to do this work well. Let us see how we have made a rhetoric question out of it. 大家的神神这么大，怎么能办不好这件事呢？ So we have made a rhetoric question which says everybody's confidence is so high. How or why we won't be able to complete this? Zamanang, how can? Panpu how? Cannot do well this matter. So this made this a rhetoric question by using of pu in this sentence. Zamanang, how can we not do this well? Let us read the first sentence. 这本古代语言很有意思，大家都想借来看看。这本 this book 古代语言，古代 is old or ancient, 语言 is fable. 很有意思 very interesting. 大家都 everybody 想借 to borrow 来看看 to read. This ancient fable, this book Ancient Fable is very interesting. Everybody want to borrow it. So we have to make a rhetoric sentence which could be like, this book Ancient Fable is so interesting, why would anybody not want to borrow it? Moving on to the second sentence. 这个意见很好，大家一定会赞成。这个意见 this opinion 很好 very very good. Everybody eating certainly 会 will 赞成 to agree. So this opinion is very good. Everybody will agree. So we have to make a rhetoric sentence which could be like, this opinion is so good, why would anybody not agree to it? Let us read the third sentence. 咱们大家一起挖，一定能把这挖平。挖 is to dig. Let us all dig together. Certainly we can dig this place flat. Ping. Ping is to flatten. So let us dig together. We would be able to dig this place flat. We have to make a rhetoric question which would be something like, we all dig together, how we would not be able to dig this place flat? We would again be using the same pattern, zamanang and shamashamanna. How can we would not be able to dig this place flat? Let us read the fourth sentence. 你是他的邻居，一定知道这件事。You are his neighbor, certainly know this matter. So when we make a rhetoric question out of it, it would be like, you are his neighbor, how can you not know this matter? Zamanang shama shama na. Let us read the fifth sentence. 这点儿困难挡不住我们。困难 is difficulty. This difficulty, tang is to block, chu is again block, tang pu chu cannot block, woman us. This little difficulty cannot stop us. So when we make a rhetoric question out of it, it would be like, how can this small difficulty stop us? Zamanang shama shamanna. Let us read the sixth sentence. 这个任务一个人完成不了。This task cannot be completed by a single person. We have to make a rhetoric question using zamanang shama shamanna. How can this task be completed by a single person? Let us read the third exercise. 把下面的句子改成不用不如的比较句。So we have to change the following sentences using puru or not as good sentence. So we have to make a comparison sentence such as A is not as good as B. A puru B. Let us read the example. 北海公园 Puru. I He Yuan Ta. Beihai Park is not as big as Summer Palace. We have to change this Puru not as good as sentence with comparative sentence. Let us see how this has been done in this case. I He Yuan Pi Beihai Kong Yuan Ta. So I He Yuan Summer Palace compared to Beihai Park is bigger. So we have changed a Puru not as big as sentence to a comparative sentence. So Summer Palace is comparatively bigger than Beihai Park. Let us read the first exercise. 你的录音机不如他的好. Your recorder is not as good as his. Moving on to the next sentence. 今天的天气不如昨天. Today's weather is not as good as yesterday's. 我们这几天不如前几天紧张. We are not as concerned as we were past few days. We for these few days are not as concerned or as nervous as we were past few days. 这条路不如上次我们走的那条平. This road is not as flat as the road we took last time. Moving on to the fifth sentence. 在这生活，北方人不如南方人习惯得快. Living here, northerners get used to this place faster than southern people. 习惯 is a habit or habitual. 快 fast, so they get habitual faster than southern people. Let us move on to the fourth exercise. 把下面的比较句改成用不如的句子. So we have to do exactly opposite from what we did in the last exercise. We have to change a P or comparative sentence with a puru, not as good as sentence. Let us see the first example. 那边的草比这边的多. The grass there is more than grass here. 这边的草不如那边的多. So grass here is not as much as the grass there. This is how we have to do further sentences. Change a comparative sentence which is made using P into a not as good as puru sentence. Let us read the following sentences. 我弟弟的身体比我的身体好. My younger brother's health is compared to me is better. 他现在没有以前跑得快了. He is not running as fast or as he used to do. 邻居家门前的树比他家门前的高. The tree that is at the neighbor's front compared to his front are taller. Let us read the fourth sentence. 虽然那儿的生活条件没这儿好，但是我们不怕. Although the conditions of living there are not as good as here, but we are not afraid. 这些老人比你们这些青年人还喜欢运动. These old people, compared to you young ones, still like to do exercise. Let us read the fifth exercise. 用我们或人们天空. So you have to fill in the blanks using either woman or zanman. Woman, remember woman is when the speaker is not included in us. So woman is like we and zanman is like us. Let us go, let us move, and we have an exam tomorrow. So we and us, we is woman and us is zanman. Let us read the first sentence. Yukong the cheese shuo. Yukong's wife said, 只有 we have to fill in the blanks. 家这几个人怎么能本奏这两座大声呢? So Yukong's wife said, only have these many members. How can we move these two big mountains? So here we have to use woman. Let us read the second sentence. 看到邻居们也来帮助. Watching or seeing that neighbors have also came to help, Yukong 高兴地说. Yukong happily said, 好啊，你们都来帮助. You have also come to help. And there is a blank. 这两座山一定能搬走. So these two mountains can be moved. So here Yukong said, you have also came to help us. These mountains would be moved. We have to use the word for us here, that is Zanman. Let us read the third sentence. 这件事只有你和我两个人知道. This matter only I and you, only we two people know. Let us read the fourth sentence. Yukong 笑着对着兽说. Yukong smiled and said to 这兽, 你说搬不走这两座山. You say these two mountains cannot be moved. 我看你连小孩子都不如. I see you are not as good as a small child. So you say that we cannot move these mountains. I see that you are not even as good as a small child. Moving on to the next sentence. 这儿有花儿有草，好看极了，快过来，在这儿找长相吧. Here there are flowers and also there is grass. 好看极了, extremely good looking. 快过来, come quickly, 在这儿找长相吧. Take a picture here. So it is, there is a lot of grass and flowers here. Come quickly, let us take, or we take a picture here. So here we have to put the word for we. It should be woman 在这儿找长相吧. Moving on to the sixth sentence. 你们学校的学生还没有 blank 学校的学生多. So your school's students are not as much as our school students. We have to fill in the blank after you. So in this sentence again, it should be woman. Our school students are more in number than your school students. Let us move on to the sixth exercise. This is a short passage. Let us read this passage. The passage is titled 认字. Ren is to recognize and Z is a Chinese character, recognizing Chinese character. Let us read this passage. 父亲教儿子认字. So father is teaching his son to recognize character. 认识汉字 to recognize Chinese character 汉字. 先在纸上写个一字交给他. 先 is first. 纸 is paper. First at paper 上 on the paper. 写个一. So he write 一 1 交给他 and give it to him. So when a father is teaching his son how to recognize Chinese character, he first write the character for 1, which is a very simple character. It's a horizontal line where number 1 is E is written, and he give it to his son. 儿子马上就回来. Son 马上 at once 就回了. So son recognize it very quickly. 父亲很高兴. Father is very happy. 第二天吃完早饭 on the second day, at while eating zao fan breakfast. 父亲又用手指在桌子上写了一个一字，让儿子认。So on the second day at the breakfast, the father again write the same character E in notebook, 让儿子认 and give it to the son to recognize. 儿子却不认识了 yet the son is not able to recognize. 父亲说这不是昨天教的椅子吗? So father says, is it not the yesterday's taught E character? 怎么不认识了? Why are you not able to, or how are you not able to recognize it? 儿子回答说 the son replied, 只过了一个晚上，我哪知道他会长这么大呢? So son says, 只过了 passed over 一个晚上 one evening, only passed one evening. 我哪知道 how would I know 它会长这么大呢? How it had grown so big. So what has happened is father has drawn the character E longer than he drew yesterday, and the son says that it has grown bigger than yesterday. How would I know that this is the same character? 复数是要求用上不是吗? 哪什么什么呢? So we have to notice two patterns here, rhetoric patterns. 不是什么什么吗? Is it not the same character that we did yesterday? 哪呢? How would I know that this is the same character, the rhetoric question pattern? Let us read the second paragraph. 不满意 满意 is satisfied, 不满意 is not satisfied. 有个人在路上遇到了一个神仙。有个人 some person or certain person 在路上 at road 遇到了 met 一个人神仙。神仙 is a godly being, immortal or godlike person. 这个神仙以前是他的老朋友。This immortal was his old friend. 他告诉神仙 So this man told to this immortal, 现在他的情况越来越不如以前. So he said, presently his situation, his position is increasingly not as it was earlier. 生活很困难 Life is very difficult. 神仙一听就把路旁边的一块小石头用手一指变成了金子给了他。So Shanshan the immortal eating after listening 就把路旁边的一块小石头 a stone at the side of the road 用手一指一指 is one finger, so using his one finger of the hand 变成了金子 to gold 给了他 and gave it to him. So after listening that his old friend is having a very difficult time these days, the immortal pick up a stone from the side of the road and using his fingers turned it into gold. 这个人给了金子 This man got gold. 还不满意 Still it was not satisfied. 神仙又用手一指把一块大石头变成了金子又给了他 So immortal again using finger of his hand turned a big stone into gold and gave it to him. 这个人还是不满意 This person was still not satisfied. 神仙问他 So the immortal asked him 怎么样你才满意呢? How can you be satisfied, or what will satisfy you? 这个人回答说 This man answered 我想要你的手指 I want your finger, finger of your hand. Shou is hand, shi is finger. I want the finger of your hand with which you can turn anything into gold. Fu shu shi yao chu yong sheng tu ru yi shama shama chu zamayang shama shama na. When repeating or when reading it, we have to consider the usage of rhetoric questions. Yi shama shama chu or zamayang shama shama na. This was the second article, and this was the exercise of lesson 46, elementary Chinese reader 3.